So I managed to get to the hut last night. I made a silly mistake. I couldn't get this tank working. It turns out there's 2 valves. So I went all the way down to this pond and filled up bottles, and only once I put the treatment tablets in did I realise there was a note saying you could turn on the second valve. So I looked and found the second valve. But yeah, I emptied the water because it's pretty murky, and just got water from the tank once I realised that. But yeah, Maunga Huka hut. It's quite cold at the moment, but just above freezing, I think. There's no ice or anything around. And here's my mess. There's that note. And yeah, it's kind of like a, I don't know, mini Keim hut. That's what I would say. Look, someone found a horseshoe. Yep, that's about everything. So, just left Maunga Huka hut. I'm on my way to Anderson Memorial Hut. So, then there's Waiti Waiwai hut somewhere down the valley there. Then all the way back to Otaki Forks in this direction. So I'm praying that this track is better than yesterday's. And so far, by appearances, there's less jagged parts. So that should be less rock climbing. Fingers crossed. That really steep section of distance is where I went down last night. I don't think I can see the ladder. Kind of looks like I can see a ladder, but it's probably something else. But yeah. Now, a wee bit of a flat section just out of the wind. And up ahead, that little mountain there is called Simpson. So the one in the distance, I forget its name, but it starts with A. Up ahead, there's a drop in and whatnot. Looks like the dodgiest section on the track today, except for maybe just after this hill. So if it's like it's been so far, it's nowhere near as bad as yesterday. So you can see Maunga Huka hut, or hut and mountain there. The heart of the Tauruas, and some of the real high peaks that way. Up ahead is one of 2 large mountains I'll have to climb today, and there's actually a hut over there somewhere in the bush. Exhausting. Yeah, even this track, I would say, unless it's perfect weather, you're with a group and it hasn't been raining in a while, not recommended. It's very slippery, not as precarious so far, not as many rock sections. There's been a few, but they were relatively short. And there was one section where I had to climb over sort of, you know, a cliff on both sides, and I was climbing on the top, but that was only for a few meters. So according to the sign, it's apparently 3 hours to Anderson Memorial Hut, but given it's taken me already over 3 hours and 30 minutes to get from Maunga Huka hut, I imagine it's going to be a lot longer. And yeah, look at this, here's the northern range of the Tauruas up ahead. What the hell? I can see something at the top, maybe it's a cross. Could also just, it could be a very tall person. Nah. But yeah, I don't know which is the tallest. Looks like one of those over there in the distance, might be. Not terrifying, but definitely steep. So it's rocks like these sometimes there's no handholds. They make them quite dodgy. I don't believe there are many more sections like this to go. I think just 2 that are spotted on the map. So fingers crossed all of these sections have handholds. Whew, I'm so tired. I'm now contemplating whether I should tomorrow just head straight to Waitaki Forks, as apparently in 2 days' time there's some heavy rain at some point, and so yeah, not too keen on that, because that track, even on a good day, is pretty shit. So tomorrow would be better to do it. That means either I have to do it late into the night, which I don't think I'll be keen, or I just have to get up really early tomorrow and crack on and do it. It's really annoying because it's going to be possibly 12 hours of tramping tomorrow then, on my birthday. I was supposed to have a relaxing day on my birthday, the way I planned the trip originally. It's so stunning. If only I could just come up with a helicopter when I'm not exhausted and just sit for 4 hours or something admiring the view. That's what I wanted to do on my birthday, but the weather isn't going to hold up for that. This section here reminds me a little bit of parts of the Tongariro sort of national park. Kind of interesting how it looks kind of similar despite not being volcanic. Yeah, cool. Oh, look at that. Deer tracks. Or goat. Let's say it's deer, because this is more interesting. So, on my way down that way to Anderson Memorial Hut. So, now I'm entering the forest. The actual forest for today. Kind of spooky forest actually. Kind of cool. I'm recording, but I'm gonna still take a photo of my phone. That was a bit weird, the lighting there. I'm recording myself taking photos now. This is great. I imagine this is going to be what the track's going to be like the entire way to the hut. It's all the same trees. So I'm staying the night at Anderson Memorial Hut. Yeah, so it's actually quite cozy on the inside. Like 6 bunks or something. Good fireplace, which I'll get going later. And look, an awesome sketch of a deer. And look, the old hut. 1975, I think, replaced. What it said. Well, I'm tired. Very tired. I can't go to Waituwae tonight. It would be too exhausting, even though there's no wind, which should be the reason I would go. This is where I'm heading, into the cloud. Yeah, super exhausted. But tonight I'm going to be even more exhausted because this is a very long day if I'm going to make it to Otaki Forks. I'm surprised this morning that I can see anything at all. I was expecting it to be completely clouded over, like fog. The sun almost peeks through, but you can see it's kind of, you know, it's still quite a bit of cloud, so I've not got a single sun ray on me like full today. So yeah, oh no, gotten sick of my foot falling through mud and having to pull it out. My boot hasn't come off yet, but no doubt on the way from Waituwae to Otaki Forks, that's gonna happen. I'm thinking I'm gonna put plastic bags over my socks and then gaiters, so that way, hopefully somewhat waterproof my feet. There's so many streams and shit to cross, so much mud. So, pleasantly surprised that there's little wind. It's possible that the direction of the wind's changing. That's cool. A weather station. There's the hut. That's the valley to Otaki Forks that I'm following today. For a minute I thought this was going to open up to a massive cave, but yeah, still really awesome though. Collapsed boulder. So finally on the flat. Yeah, it's this track, although okay in wind conditions, if it was soaking wet, you know, like after lots of rain, the track is very muddy and very steep. So but classic. So first swing bridge. Wouldn't be great doing this in heavy wind, so good I'm getting it over and done with now before the wind comes. Here's Waituwae hut. Whoever's watching this, don't get the impression that this track from Waituwae to Otaki Forks is short or easy, just because of the lack of footage Yeah, it's not terrible. I mean, the second day when I was going over those rocks was, you know, very gnarly, but this is just annoying kind of rugged terrain. I'm filming in the nicest part, of course, so that way I can actually hold the camera as I walk. So it looks like I'm gonna get to the hut probably at 10:30 p.m. maybe, you could estimate. The last section of track was quite muddy. I'm currently taking, there's two routes. One's closed now, but the high route is one I have to take because of the slips on the low route. And yeah, exhausted. But tomorrow, no matter how tired I am now, I'll be able to rest off. I've got a whole day just to rest, which is great. That heads to Waitawai Hut, but there's lots of slips, so never take this way. This is the way all the markers are pointing. It's not great, but it's unfortunately what you have to do. This is an old old railway, I think, of some old, you know, like forestry trail thing. Look at that. Huge slip, just taking out the entire mountainside here. Fuck. Now I see why they made a convoluted ribbon trail. Oh, so tired. Oh well. So I'm here at Purify Lodge. Yeah, so effectively today I've just been chilling at the hut, and yeah, I was collecting firewood and processing it, as well as cleaning the hut a little bit. Yeah, so yeah, this is sort of attempting to do a send-off video. Not too well though, because I'm using my phone because my GoPro is already out of charge. It's much harder. So yeah, this is just a little trail from the hut. And yeah, it's been, on reflection, this trip I think has been great, but I've definitely observed many locations that if the weather was just slightly bad would have been very, very dangerous. And some sections that, you know, even though it was dry, were still, I mean, the handholds were ridiculously dangerous. I'm kind of stumbling my words because I'm really tired from yesterday's hike. But yeah, probably best not to do this tramp that I've done solo. Yeah, it's just not a good idea. I mean, even with people though, like some of the sections you could fall, no one would be able to save you anyway, but nah. But for like Waitawai to here is okay, and from here to Field and Kime Hut's fine by yourself, but the Maunga Huka and the Anderson Memorial sort of sections of the track are quite dodgy, so yeah. So the highlight for me of this trip, I would say, is probably third day, just before heading down to Anderson Memorial Hut, all of the sort of sunset views and things maybe. Also, like seeing the views like the day before, you know, seeing all of the really challenging sections, but from a distance, like a vantage point of the entire range that I tramped the day before, was pretty cool. I keep on forgetting I don't need to do all these videos in one take. Cool little hut someone's made, or shelter someone's made near the hut. Kind of cool. And the low point, if it isn't already obvious, is well, the section just before the ladder, big ladder on day 2, that was just so gnarly, and I didn't even really film it, but nah, I'm really reluctant to do that track again. So it's been a week. I'm here at sort of just above Lower Hutt, doing a little tramp out this way towards Eastbourne, along the hill ridges rather. There's Miramar and Wellington. Yeah, so the last day was pretty uneventful, just back the way I went the same as I went before. It was a little windy, but my battery was completely dead, so I got a few photos and that was it. There was actually an albino peacock when I left the track. It was kind of interesting actually, I'd never seen one before. It was completely white, no coloration whatsoever. It's kind of cool. I feel like I should put a final sort of a reflection on how it all went. And I would say overall it went great. I mean, the weather window I had couldn't have been better. Low wind, good sun. I mean, it was perfect. And as far as the huts, they weren't too full. It was a real challenge tramping because there's only so many 12-hour days you can do before your body begins to break down. But yeah, overall, great trip. And so, recommendations. I would say that the best course of action if you're going in there solo would be to stick to the sort of main, southern crossing route that's sort of touristy by backcountry standards, and obviously pick a good weather window. If you're going with a group, then the trackside did work perfectly fine, but again, if it gets wet or windy, they can be very hazardous, so there's nowhere to hide really. It's all super exposed. So even if you start the track and stay at a hut and the next day is shit weather, it's best just to stay put. And finally, this is advice I already take, but yeah, bring lots of food. You think you don't need as much, or you don't need that, it's just going to be extra weight. But if you're in the Taruas, there's it's so much climbing up and down, and you could easily get caught at a hut for multiple days. I'm heading to Butterfly Creek if daylight permits. There's a place in the East Harbour Regional Park, which is near Eastbourne, Wellington. And the road track. Butterfly Creek. So it's been a good trip. I guess for narrative points, for the narrative, I'll say that I learned a lot. I learned a little bit. That's fair. Right there, views of Wellington. Well, it's like the sort of Miramar Peninsula out there. Yeah. So anyway, I hope whoever's watching this enjoyed the video, and fingers crossed I can actually edit something watchable out of this video. All these clips rather. It's all over the place. Future me's gonna have fun.